Good morning. Friday feature, here we are, back at the end of the week. Definitely Friday. Look at that, it's not pouring as much water today. Still beautiful. Overcast and clammy. So, what you got planned for the weekend? How's your week been? How's everybody feeling? How are you progressing through lockdown? Morning, Hugh Gracie. I was thinking about you the other day there, Mr. Gracie. I thought, I wonder what he is doing tuning in here. Haven't seen him for a long time. Are you well, Mr. Gracie? Right, Boddington, here we go. My big tree. Somebody said I should give him a name. I'll think about that. Gorgeous up here. Good morning. Good morning. Let me just get up this wee hill so I'm not pecking and panting like an old pit pony. Right, you can't put a young head on. You can't put an old head in young shooters. That's beautiful. Liam showed you that again. The young boy that lost his life here last Saturday, 7 days ago. Some lovely people have been up and put that on. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Right. Scottish slang. My grandfather used to say to me all the time, he just used to sit, wise old soul he was, and shake his head, and he said some clangers right enough, but he said, Ross, you can't put an old head in young shooters. And what does that mean? How could you have that conversation? How can you, if you are young and you're only 12 or 13 or 16 even, and you're watching this and you've got the world at your fingertips and you think you know everything about everything and nobody can tell you right as you're moving into your own interdependent world and meeting with your peers, and your peers are more of an influence in your life than your parents and you're gravitating away from them. Or if you're like us, 47, fast approaching 50, yeehaw, and we're getting to Friday. I'm plucking things out of hat to talk about now. I think we've been doing this every day for like 3 months or something, but I'm reflected over my week. Starting for yesterday, I stopped in to see a friend, Gordon. Let's call him Gordon. And I stopped in to see him for 10 minutes, which turned out to be, I don't know, a number of hours. And all we done was lay in the grass, chewing the fat, talking about things, life in general, how we've got to where we're at, who we are, who we could be. And it was lovely. It's great getting to know people, and that's one of the blessings. So that was, whoa, trippy little mushroom. That's cool. Oh, there's some cool stuff out in nature, isn't there? Right, anyway. Right, so that was yesterday, and then I had meetings on Wednesday, and I met up with a guy, Willie's 60, and I was reflecting with him that, you know, I'm 12 and a half years off of 60. What's that going to look like? What's that going to be like? Having those kind of conversations. We spoke about Septembers in Bells Hill that I used to climb out my bedroom window in 1986 when I was 14. And get into Septembers in Bells Hill on a Thursday night, and we had a right laugh about that, and then the Hatton rig and Club 9, and man, I was only a wee boy going to the all-nighters and things like that. So I've brought this morning together out of just some of the conversations I've had this week with people, friends, associates, colleagues. And what would you go back and say to your younger self? If you could transport yourself back in time, what kind of conversation would you have with your younger self? So how far back would you go? Where would I go back to? The things we've done, places we've been, the relationships we've severed, our inability to stay focused when we were young. But Gordon and I were talking yesterday about who are we actually? You know, who are we actually? How do we know what we actually like when we follow in the footsteps of people that have perhaps guided us? Perhaps our parents have guided us, our social circle of friends have guided us into things, careers, Do we actually like what we like because we like it, or is it because that would then allow us to fit in with a social group? And are we using things in our lives as a distraction to stop us from a bit of a new age coaching word, but you know, your true and authentic self? You know, what is that true authentic self that you've got going on right now? Right, and I'll just use all these kind of great words and promote myself in that way so that you all just think I'm really cool. But anyway, what are you all about? Really, what are you all about? What do you like? You know, and if you actually like being a kind of about with Stone Island gear on and skip hats and, you know, want to present to the world that you're a drug dealer and you're not really a drug dealer, but you want that kind of respect and autonomy, then batter right in. Or do you want to present yourself? And that's going to get you things. The image that you put out is a way of getting things towards you, to getting attention. But my question would be, where are you paying, or where are we, keep it with us, where are we paying attention to what it is that we really want? So if you put the question out to people, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? Right, a lot of folk go, I don't know what I like. I don't know what I want. So, if you were going to go back in time, if you could transport yourself back in a time machine and go back to those fractured, broken places in yourself, what advice would you give to yourself? So, for me, it would definitely be believe in yourself and relax. So, a wee tiny bit about my journey into why I'm standing here talking to you today. So I went to a party when I was 14. As I said, I used to climb out the window to go to September 1986. I went to a party in 1986 and didn't really come home until about, I know exactly the day it was the 27th of April 1993, when a piece of news arrived through my door and hit me like a ton of bricks. And I felt like that guy in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels when he lost all the money to that nasty Eddie guy in the card game, and everything just shuddered. And that's when I found my way into... Hello? Lost the signal there. Hi, what would you go back and say to your younger self, and how did I end up getting to where I got to? So I went into therapy. I saw a therapist from 93 to 96. 3 years, every Tuesday. Maryhill Road in Glasgow. A great old soul, so she was. Had a brilliant relationship with her. And then this is what I'm getting to. And then I went off in 96 to India to hang out in ashrams and do the whole hippie thing. And I come back in about 98. Now, this is what I was talking about with Gordon yesterday. A lot of older people, when I was leaving for India, said, oh, what are you going in India for? You're away to find yourself. A way to find yourself. And I didn't know what they meant back then. I was only 23-year-old. I didn't know what that meant, finding myself. And then Gordon and I were talking yesterday. It's only been in about the last 5 years, certainly since it was in the house that I'm currently living in. I was washing my face one day and I looked up and I went, Christ, there you're there. And I burst out laughing. It was as if I'd just had a big balloon full of laughing gas. And I burst out laughing, looking at myself in the mirror, going, here, you're here. And then the voices, those old elders, your ancestors, the teachers, the wise people in our tribe, namely my grandfather, would say to you, you're all the man you're ever going to be, get out and get on with it. Right? So, if I could transport myself back to when I was younger, I think the thing that I have came to learn and have not fully understood, I'm certainly not a black belt in it by any stretch of the imagination, but whatever you put your attention on, you feed, right? And that's very, very true. And that's came through, it comes through in many philosophical teachings. And if you're continually focusing on a negative, or you're continually focusing on something that's got separation, that's only going to breed more separation. But in actual fact, what you then start to do up as a secondary belief system that's set up on top of that is you start to, in order to get your needs met, because we still need to have our needs met because there's a deep psychological, let's go back to Maslow's, right, that's installed in us all, right? We need those things, security, safety, shelter, food and all the rest of it, right? That's all really good. But if you're looking at a paradigm of the world towards separation, towards negativity, right, towards things that make you feel angry or not involved or included, when you're looking at that kind of stuff, what I've found starts to happen is that in order to get your needs met, you go in through the back door. You start to get your needs met through a manipulative way, and you go underneath the table and you play small in order to get power. You play small in order to get your needs met. Whereas when you're focusing on what I would call the light, you know, I'm a kind of Christian, fully fledged. I've been following the work of Christ for the last 10 years, fully, no longer since 2010, following gurus any longer and giving a six-figure sum of money to many people over 20 years of trying to find myself through the literature. I've studied with some fantastic people, right enough, but still, just focusing on one thing for the past decade, which has been the work of Christ. There's more wisdom in there when you can understand it than there is in any quantum physics or science or anything like that. So for me, I say the light. So when you're focusing on connection and love and good things, things that make you feel good and things that give you value, right, you can give away freely. And that's like, we've got a saying in the fellowship, fill your own cup first before you go and try and fill somebody else's, because you can't give for an empty cup. So if you're looking at the dark stuff and the stuff that's broken and all the fractures and all the judgmental behaviours that you've got in your life, like you drink too much, or you're not connected to your family enough, or you know, you're living away on your own and, you know, I would really like to be more connected but I don't know how to reconnect and all these kind of things, right, then your cup's pretty empty, right, and you never feel fulfilled and you never feel that you're getting your needs met. So going back to the younger self, the lessons and education that we've had for somebody that's nearly 50-year-old and going back over and been doing this work, and you know, I have a real judgment on folk that have to tell you how long they've been on this spiritual path for, right? I really do. It doesn't really matter because time's just an illusion that doesn't exist anyway. And when you've spent time in ashrams in India 30 years ago and, you know, you can see the illusion that we live within, then why would I need to say that? But I don't know how long, 93 to now, what's that, 27 years ago, I set out on a path of what you would say self-discovery. And in actual fact, all that done was put me down another rabbit hole. And I just kept feeding the slot machine, right? Because I was trying to find myself out there. I was trying to find myself going to courses, going on courses, following gurus all around the world. And it was in 2010 when I had a motorcycle accident and I went to America, and a guy called Martin Woodkey, the Woodkey Institute for Neurofeedback, treated me for a bisymmetrical brain injury. And I realised then the errors of my ways, the errors of seeking approval, seeking false connection in a world. Now, the reason I'm saying that to you is I've sat in course room and seminars from Glasgow all the way to Hawaii and all the way around the world, and I've sat at the feet of shamans and gurus and spiritual teachers. I mean, heavens forbid, you know, spent a lot of money on that personal development circuit, right? And through shame, admitting like the addiction, the alcoholism, if you sit and look at the certificates and qualifications that are on my wall, probably not including time off work, over 20-year period, if I started working to where I got to, I've spunked over 100 grand and running around the world looking for people. And 10 years ago, I gave up the call, I gave up the search, I stopped looking out there, and I started hanging out with myself. I started hanging out with me. I didn't need to sit in seminar leaders. I didn't need to go and watch folk jump up and down, think they were on a pogo stick, trying to get the energy up. Let's get the energy up. You know, sitting with Tony Robbins, rah, rah, rah. Now, Tony's a good guy. And it wasn't through. I got involved with some which could only have been described as a cult called the Oneness University, promoting oneness, and Tony Robbins got involved in that and gave them an island in Fiji. And I think I met him there in India, and he's a pretty decent guy. But what you start to see, even in certain other movements in circles, people having their tribe and part of this group, it's very, very... We started talking, and one of the other conversations I've had this week is, it's very cult-like. Conversation I had on Wednesday, it's very cult-like. And I said to the woman that I was talking with, I said, well, what's the definition of a cult? What is the definition of a cult? And she went, well, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I went, well, really, it's a lot simpler than that. A cult is where you're part of a group that no longer lets you think for yourself, right? So, going back and looking at your own behaviour and where you're at now, are you somebody that's sitting in seminar rooms after seminar rooms after seminar rooms, giving all your power away to the person that's running the courses, running the seminars or whatever? And be honest, have you found yourself starting to use the language that they use and starting to want... It's almost like a groupie-like mentality. So that's not empowering. That's very disempowering, okay? Because really, if you're still going back and going back and going back, as a seminar leader, as somebody that's got integrity, you've got a duty of care to say to those individuals, right, you've been coming here for X number of weeks, months or years, right? Do you feel as if you're getting it? No, I'm not getting it. That's why I keep coming back. Well, I'm always going to be here for you. We're always going to be here for you. This programme's always going to be here for you. But I think what would be helpful for you would be to try something different. Because if you have to keep going back to something, unless it's running on a treadmill or going to the gym because it's for physical fitness, but if you've got a broken heart and you've been working with somebody for that for 3 years, right? The person that you're working with might not be the person for you. You might have to do something different. You might need to look at it from another angle. But it's meeting lots of needs, because what you're actually doing is you're paying for these seminars in order to get the illusion that you're connected or that you feel connected. Now, if you have been part of this, as I have, the minute you have a self-realisation that this maybe isn't for you, have you noticed that when you're going to them every week or every month or whatever, or any time they're in town and selling their snake oil, that you go along and groove into the course, right? The other people that are going along will make contact with you. They'll like your stuff on Facebook. They'll send you messages. But the minute that you stop doing it, they stop contacting you. So as long as you're part of the group, you'll be part of the team. But the minute that you go against that and you fall away from that and you think for yourself and you become a free radical thinker, we don't actually want to be part with you. We don't want to run about with you, right? So it's Friday, Feature Friday. Here we are, walking around New Lanark. And it's bloody hot in Scotland, man. It's the first person that complains about the heat in Scotland. I was going to say I'm going to give them a right scorn telling it, but that was me last night lying in my bed. Oh, it's so hot. Right, red hot, man. Brilliant, we loved it. And it's awfully clammy today and it feels as if it's about to thunder. So, if you've got time, you're driving to your work, you're sitting in the bus, you're sitting in the train, you're starting to get back through these phases of lockdown and you've got some time to think and be with yourself, what I would encourage you to do is transport yourself back to when you were that 14-year-old boy. For me, that's when I started smoking dope and drinking, right? Went to that party, never come back, right? You've got the power in your mind to close your eyes, go inside, fly back along your timeline or whatever that looks like, and have a conversation as your adult self with that younger self. What does that younger self for you need? Now, do you feel as if there's something you want to change? Are you too fat? Are you too thin? Are you too unfit? Are you being too fit and not spending any time with the family? Are you drinking too much? Are you not drinking enough? Are you not having enough fun? Are you feeling that you're a moaner all the time? The journey begins with you, right? Take some time to yourself. My suggestion, do take some time to yourself. I'm not telling you what to do. Find your own way. Find your own way through it. And start to question question yourself, because your unique perspective is completely unique to you. And if you're not doing what these people are telling you to do, and that doesn't allow you to fit within their frame of reference, and then you start to feel ousted by that, then maybe that's no the gymnasium for you. It's maybe no the team, the tribe, the group that they're attempting to pull you into. So there's the thunder. Yeehaw, love it. I hope I get to walk in it. I hope it starts raining. I hope I get to walk in the thunder. I love doing that. Now, going back and having a conversation with your younger self, what would you do differently? And how can you let yourself off the hook for the pain that you've caused yourself and those around you in the past? How can you free yourself from guilt and allow yourself to live a more effective way of being, a happier way of being in yourself? This is a short ride. Gordon and I were talking about this yesterday. I'm 47. If I get my 3-score year in 10, right, I've got 23 years left. How do I want to spend that, right? And how much is those fractured, broken parts of our being young and the mistakes that we've made, and we're still fixated and ruminating on something that we've done in 19 canteen, and how's that still showing up in your life? And do you still have a belief that you don't deserve to be happy, you don't deserve love, and you don't deserve freedom? Well, maybe that's just a story that's keeping you looking at the dark side, that's keeping you looking at the negative, that's keeping you looking at separation over connection, right? And how can you change that? How can you start to redirect your internal mindset focus to stop looking on a mosquito bite that you're internally itching all the time, that's bringing pain and suffering in your life, as opposed to love and connection? So that's my rambles this morning. I wish you all a really great weekend. I will see you on Monday, and take care. God bless. All the best to you. And you'll be pleased to know that when I get to 100, I'm going to stop. So I've got about another week to go, and that would tie up nicely with a challenge that half a dozen years I've got going on. It's probably more like a dozen, but I shouldn't really say that because you have to keep it to 8. And with only family members. But, you know, we will be being in integrity and social distancing during the challenge. And take care. All the best. God bless. Hope you've got rain. Yeah, me too, Linz. Right, see you soon. Take care. All the best, everybody.